All right. So first question, do you think MFTs are more likely to upcode or downcode when they use the DSM-5?
I think the third answer is they are more likely to attempt to accurately code. But if I, knowing the stigma of mental health, what it does to a person, if I had to err on a side of something, I would probably downcode only until I was absolutely sure that a more severe diagnosis was really warranted. For example, put out, let's just take the most benign thing, adjustment disorder, but then I would rule out generalized anxiety disorder, or rule out, other things that might apply. And sometimes that just takes, you don't get that in the first 2-3 weeks. You might really get that after 3 months. So I think they tend to maybe do the lesser diagnosis, or the less severe diagnosis, until they're absolutely sure that a more severe diagnosis is actually clinically warranted. Because once you give that diagnosis, you can't take it back.
Second question, do you share your diagnosis with the client? Why or why not?
I absolutely share my diagnosis with the client. It is, to me, it's unethical to not do that. You're basically, to me, I'd be functioning under a false assessment, false relationship. If I can't honestly say what it is and why I think it's that, then to me, that's just such a critical part of the therapeutic relationship and trust is, look, you came to me. Maybe I'm going to be the one person who's going to be really honest with you. I won't, I'll tell you what it is, why I think it's that. You can argue back and forth with me about that, or why you disagree with me. But we have to start from a place of honesty.
If the Catholic diocese contacted you with a signed release asking you to release records so they could make a determination regarding annulment of your prior client's marriage, would you release the records? Why or why not?
First of all, I've been in this situation with the Catholic diocese, with the Episcopal diocese, and I know the annulment process and all of that. But the bottom line is one, I don't care if they have a release from somebody else. I don't release anything unless my clients have signed my own release, and there's a release going both back ways. And I would only release what my client gave permission for. I'm not releasing progress notes. If my client was okay with it, I would do identity and presence in treatment, and maybe a discharge summary that so-and-so successfully completed, blah, blah, blah. But I wouldn't give anything like that without my client's direct and very specific knowledge. And quite honestly, the church doesn't have people who know what they're doing with that information. And so the only way I would do it is with very specific and limited releases signed both ways. I would have to know where that information is going to be stored, how it's going to be kept confidential, and I would have that discussion with my client before they signed a release so that they would have the chance to ask the diocese those questions.
Okay, perfect. All right. So then the final question, are there any issues as it relates to assessment, diagnosis, and treatment and following the code of ethics that you are particularly aware of, as they seem to come up more frequently than others?
Truthfully, not really. The assessment, diagnosis, and treatment, and following the code of ethics. No, nothing that, at least in my experience, that comes up with any regularity around that. I think that more issues come up around the code of ethics in terms of collateral clients and who's in the session, and does something get accidentally disclosed, and does that then become part of the? I think it comes more with informed consent when somebody brings somebody into a session who's not a family member but is collateral and important, and then what kind of consents need to be signed. That, to me, is more of a consistent issue and a gray area around the code of ethics. And then what level of confidentiality are you bound to if someone brings in somebody who's a neighbor or whatever?
So like in your example that you're giving, the informed consent, is that something that is a gray area across the board, more selective for maybe adults versus children, or?
Children seems to be a little bit more specific and narrow, and people, because, ultimately then, too, it's the parents who are bringing them in, and parents who have to consent. The children bring anybody in, the parents have to. So you're kind of protected that way, but it's more of an adult issue.
Does that, just kind of relating to the child situation where the child is not, it being a minor, what level of influence do they have if they don't want their information shared with a parent?
You have to talk with the parent about that. But I draw the line if there are issues of self-harm or direct harm to others.
Okay.
There are times, and this is where then you have to consult with a supervisor or other therapist about the ethics and your duty to warn. If the kid knows about something or something has happened in school, what's their age, what's their capacity, at the age of 14, are they 14 in the state, and are they technically able to sign for their own mental health? But this is where you have to start just consulting. That's where it gets mushy.
Gotcha.
When there's issues of abuse or they're going home to their parent who's abusing them, and now they've disclosed something. How do you create safety for the child while you're still trying to do this report, and how do you do this in a way that's going to protect the child? That's where you just always consult.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Jan, listen, I know I said 5 to 10 minutes, and it actually turned out to be 31. I am apologetically grateful.
Yeah.
You still there?
The therapists are never short-winded.
Oh, no. But like I said, I'm apologetically grateful because I don't ever mean to suck up your morning or your time. I am very respectful of your time, but I'm also very grateful for the amount of information that you share with me.